Once upon a time, there was a very smart troll called Zane, who lived in an enchanted forest. She loved the forest where she was born and raised. She loved her family and their love for that land. But she had a great desire in her heart, a desire for more. She wanted more experiences, more trips, a better job, to have a more comfortable home. Sometimes the trees felt a little too stiff for her back. She wanted more knowledge. Maybe learn a few spells, learn how to make other potions. She wanted to know more people, make more friends. Witches, elves, dwarfs, who knows? And never, ever stop. Never, ever feel like she wasn't moving, like she wasn't going anywhere. And that is how she felt. One day, she realized that in order to get more, she needed to explore, leave her forest and go beyond the borders of that familiar land. But there was one problem. She couldn't communicate in other languages. Each creature, witches, elves, fairies, dwarfs, spoke a different language. How could she go to their lands and explore new worlds if she could not communicate? Well, since she didn't know what to do, she invited the 3 people she trusted the most in the world to help her with this issue. Her best friend Reggie, her youngest friend Zolkis, and her oldest friend, her grandpa Solix. Reggie, the best friend, told her, "You should just go now and try to learn everything you need about the language there." Zolkis, her youngest friend, said, "Oh no, you should study many, many years before going. It's very scary not to speak a language. You need to speak perfectly before you go." Both started debating the matter, defending their arguments and explaining why it would be better to learn the language by living in the land or the opposite. Why it would be better to study the language in books until perfection before going. Her grandpa was quietly observing the 2 young friends argue. Then Zane finally said, "I am so confused. I don't know what to do. Hey, Grandpa Solix, what would you do? Please help me decide." Her grandpa looked her in the eye and said, "Sweetheart, can you learn to cook without a recipe?" Nope. Of course you can, but it's going to take you much longer to cook well. At the beginning, your food will probably be so bad that no one will want to eat it. But with effort, practice, observation, openness to feedback, systematic correction of mistakes, many people learn how to cook without recipes. It takes longer though. If everything goes well, first they cook basic things and they feed themselves and maybe even their friends and family. And they learn more and more because they are practicing. Practice makes perfect, but not everyone can cook without instructions, without knowing where to go, the steps, the ingredients, what they can use, what they can't mix. And cooking is a practical activity. On the other hand, if you have the best recipes given to you by the best chefs in the world, and you study them, you read them over and over, you listen to the chefs, you observe the chefs, you eat their food, study hard, but you don't practice cooking, you don't know how to cook. You probably cannot learn. You cannot know if you have learned or not. Another important aspect of learning to cook is that if you want your food to be perfect, before you invite your family and friends to eat it, you will miss out on so many amazing opportunities of fun, laughter, love. So if you want to learn a language and you can visit the land where they speak it, do it. Immerse yourself and practice, practice, practice. Learn through everyday needs, yes. Real life situations, sure. But don't forget the books, the recipes, the studying. Dictionaries, books, grammar books, music, films. Don't forget to open your ears to correction, to always improve, to seek evolution and growth, to use the live language around you to make your own communication the best for other people to digest. The better you communicate, the closer people are to you, the more you get. If you don't have an opportunity to visit the land where they speak the language you want to learn, don't worry. Just find other ways to practice. Many people learn a new language by bringing the language into their lives, not necessarily bringing themselves to where the language is. As I said before, we need the books. We need to be open for self-correction, to dedicate, to improve. Cooking without a recipe can go really wrong. Just immersing in the language is not enough for most people. If you have the motivation, the dedication, and the desire for more, you can learn that new language from wherever you are. But in both cases, staying or going, you cannot let fear stop you from practicing. Don't wait for perfection before you serve your dinner. A wise man once said, if you don't want to make mistakes, don't try anything in your life. Mistakes are part of the journey, especially when you're learning a new language. Thank you for watching. Follow us on Fluent for Real.